Hi guys, how are you? Type A here. So I figured that after been using Reason 10.2 for about a week now, I'll do a kind of like a walkthrough of the software so far. So if the people that watch this channel are considering like using Reason or maybe like switching over to it from FL or Renoise, you have like the perspective of someone who used FL Studio and Renoise previously for quite a long time now. And I can say that Reason is pretty amazing. The synthesizers and effects collection that comes with the full version, it's amazing. It's nothing that I've enjoyed in FL Studio or Renoise whatsoever. Um, but yeah, it's pretty interesting, and that was basically the initial approach that I had when considering using Reason to take advantage of this amazing collection of sounds. And what I want to do in this video is kind of like a short walkthrough, navigating the software so you can have a basic idea of the workflow. And yeah, so Reason basically is a structure with the main rack view here. You have the browser, you have a mixer. It's based on an SSL console, and you have the arrangement view. And it's easy to navigate all of these windows but with the F keys. So F5 is the mixer, F6 the rack view, F7 is the arrangement, and if you want to hit the browser, it's going to be F3. F4 shows up the on-screen piano keys in case you don't have a MIDI keyboard and you want to explore the entire range. And F8 brings up this tool window, which I think is like a tool to mess around with in the edit view, the piano roll, stuff like that. The browser is pretty it's really good. I mean, you have all the main categories here, the instruments, all the instruments, including your VSTs. You have your effects, including your VST effects. Utilities are recent utilities like routers and sequencers, stuff like that. And you have the players, which are basically MIDI players. They affect the MIDI, the incoming MIDI when you use it on a synthesizer, stuff like that. There you have all of these categories. These are custom folders and recent factory sounds organized in different categories. The orchestra sounds, this is also factory. And the same but for each individual synthesizer and drum effect or drum plugin. And then you have these expansions, which are basically drum loops and drum one shots. And these are the presets for the rack extensions. And this is my PC desktop if you want to work from there. And yeah, so something that I like is the here. If I want to drag a specific folder, I just look in my disk, and like something like this, I drop it here and it instantly shows what I have in this folder. So it's really cool. Okay, so pretty much the workflow that I'm using, because I am not by all means a Reason expert by now. If you have in rack view, you can press your tab keys and you can access all of the modular amazing stuff that you can use with modular, all the control voltage signals and seconds one plugin with another. And this environment, I'm still not used to it, so pretty much I've never pressed tab when I'm working on the songs that I'm doing right now. So I'm basically using it as if I were using FL Studio. I load a synth, I start messing around with it, and then I go to the arrangement to write stuff. Usually I'm on the sequencer view here, and if I want to add something, for instance, like a con, you can press double click and you can access to this instance, and as soon as you load the plugin, it will show the presets available for it, so you can drag it or you can basically just double click. And I must say that the quality of all of these presets are quite inspiring. If you just want to get hands on making the song with the factory included sounds that add a lot, you can start instantly making your song. And now that I have this drum plugin, I can go to the sequencer, and if you press Control on the mouse wheel, it will zoom in vertically, and if you press Control and Shift, it will zoom horizontally, so you can have a better view of your timeline. Similar to this, if you press Shift on the mouse wheel, it's going to scroll through the timeline horizontally, of course. And now, if, for instance, if I want to start creating with the con, I can press the Alt key, and it will change the mouse to the pen tool, which you can access here with the W key. But I just found that it's faster to use the Alt tool, the Alt key on my keyboard. So press Alt, it will create a MIDI clip, so I can double click and enter edit mode. And once I'm in this view, I can like change the different setting for the grid, 1/16, and by making like double click, I can start adding notes. Or if you just want, you can drag and drop with Control press on your keyboard, so you'll copy that. Or if you want, you can just press Control plus D, and it will duplicate, and you can move it after. So this is like really cool. It's pretty much the same workflow as I think Ableton, double clicking and like for creating new notes. So yeah. One major improvement that I've noticed in this version, because when I first started using this, I bought a Reason intro, and it was still version 10, and there's a function here that is not enabled by default. It's the return to last start position and stop. Before this update, if you start messing around with something, you press stop, and the transport here, like this marker, it will play stop in that position, and then if you press play it again, it will start playing from that position. That's like really workflow killer, because you want to start from the previous position. You need to go back and drag it here. But with this option enabled, it's basically the same behavior as any DAW. You press, and it will start to the previous position. So this is really amazing. So let me write something here. Quick pattern. You can edit the velocity for each note. Similar, you press the Alt key to bring out the pen tool, and you can mess around with the velocities. If you're in this position and you have deselected, for instance this, but you want to mess around with the velocity, you will change the velocity for the two notes. So I think you have to make a selection or press Shift or Shift and Alt. Yeah, Shift plus Alt, and it will only change the note that you have selected. So this is like really something interesting to know if you mess around with this. Yeah, once I have this, if I want to go back to the arrangement, just press Escape. And if the same process with this clip, if you want to copy it, you can press Control D and it will create a copy, or you can press Control and drag and drop to have more than one. Once you have all of these for patterns, if you want to merge them, you just select them and press Control J, and it will create just one clip. If you want to zoom to this selection, you press C, and it will zoom to this selection on the screen. So it's really cool. So you can make variations on your pattern, and this is really helpful. And something that I want to point out that I don't like is that you don't have markers in Reason. If you press right click to add a marker or whatever, there's no markers. There's a workaround for it that I'm going to show you right now, and it's using the blocks. The blocks is it's a feature that I think they want to resemble the workflow on an Akai MPC, but I don't have any experience with that. But if you press B, you enter the blocks mode, and usually you will create a section of your song in this first block. Then you will jump to another block and you will create another section, and that's how you form the intro, verse, chorus, or whatever. But pretty much you can not write anything on one of these blocks, and you can rename this to intro, and the second block to like verse, something like that. And then if you press B again, you go to song mode, and if you double click here, you will create a block and you can drag it, and that's basically the marker. If this block is the intro, you leave it like that. If you want to make a copy and you want to switch to the verse, you have another block. And this is the best method I found for markers in Reason. So it's really cool. It's not much of a work. Maybe you can save a template with a lot of these blocks named already, so you can just start like arrange with them and they are already named with a color of your liking. Yeah, so pretty much I have drums. Now I can look for a bass sound, and I can go to Reason sounds, bass, synth bass, and these are all the synth bass sounds for all the instruments available. So something like this. I don't like this. So I want to go to the mixer now with 5 to kind of like mix around this bass sound. So I want to do it a bit different now. I want to basically just record my performance, and something that I like to have enabled is the pre-countdown, not the click, the pre-countdown, so I do not have like one bar to get myself ready. So just press pre and press record. Yeah, so I press record and it will snap the overall clip to 1 bar, since it's the measure, like the setting here in the grid. I can drag this and go to edit mode, press Ctrl A and then Ctrl K to kind of quantize them. And pretty much it really does a good job quantizing your notes when you record stuff live. Now there are a lot of different ways to do the sidechain in Reason. And it's pretty much like FL Studio. You have like 3 or 4 ways to do just one thing, and you can like route all of your sounds to a mixer bus, and then use a compressor and trigger the sidechain with another instance, and it's all up to you. So far I'm not digging too much in routing stuff into Reason. I'm just basically using sounds as sound arranging and bouncing them to a big stems and do the rest of the work in FL Studio. But there's a really cool effect here that I think now starting from Reason 10 they included in the factory version, and it's this synchronous effect modulator. So if you want to add any effect to any instrument, you just basically drag below them and it will route the connections to that. And this is a volume utility. It's really much more than that, but pretty much it messes around with the volume and like different controls in your sound. So there is a preset for sidechain. So if you're making a 4 to the floor sound, with the kick hitting each 4 note, each quarter note, using this for making the sidechain is really helpful. It's similar to the gross beat in FL Studio. Let me make this note a bit lengthier. So now I want to look for a synth sound. So similar process, Reason, like leads. Let's look for something interesting. Let's mix this a little bit. So yeah, any lead sound will do the trick. So basically, same. Like you can write your notes on the MIDI keyboard on the here on the arrangement, or you can record something if you like. Yeah, similar process. Control A, Control K to quantize this. It's not really nothing too good, but yeah. Now, if you just want to switch the preset, you can just basically drag and drop here, and it will switch completely. Now if you want to add any effects to this preset, like a filter, I don't know, something like that, or delay plugin, just as I told you, you just drag it below and it will create an just something like this. And basically to do automation is right click, edit automation for this controller, and it will like create a lane here below the actual instrument, and you press Alt to create a clip. You double click and you enter the like the lane to edit the automation. Just press Alt, create a point, Alt again, create a second point, and you just you can draw with this. And there's a lot of functionality here, but I'm no expert yet, so I'm basically using to do simple automation. Okay, so this is really a basic workflow, not using Reason too much to make like weird stuff, and taking full advantage of this modular environment. But if you are a beginner and you just jumping from another more traditional DAW, by traditional I mean a really more linear way of doing things, pretty much this kind of workflow is going to let you make stuff, and you're not going to be like, oh shit, I don't know how to do this, how do I do this stuff. And there are not much tutorials for Reason in YouTube. There's a few channels, of course, that make really cool stuff, but it's not the same as Ableton or FL Studio. And hopefully some people will create really more content. I know there's a few channels that really dig into the ins and outs of like using their modular environment and taking full advantage of all the Reason capabilities to make sound design and really cool tricks of edits. But yeah, I'm a beginner, so I'm going to definitely start using more and more Reason in the arrangement to make my songs and then work in FL Studio after. Luckily for me, I'm not going to miss right now Renoise that much, since I have Renoise here. It's a Redux, it's the BST version of the Renoise sampler, and it really sounds really good. It's really stable, the BST management here, at least for not so bigger projects, but the stuff that I've been doing so far, it behaves like really stable with a lot of BSTs and effects and guitar recordings. So yeah, I really recommend, if you want to invest in other DAW to expand your synth collection, or maybe you just want to give it a shot to see how it works, Reason is really a really cool option. So yeah, hope this is something helpful to you guys.